Hi, Romesh Srivastu here, Editor-in-Chief SightsIn. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Please do subscribe this for the HR news, for HR updates and conversations that are on the HR. Today, we are going to talk about the global recession in 2023 and what will be the impact on India, and especially we will talk about the impact on Indian job market. To discuss in detail on this topic, today we have a distinguished panel. Let me introduce Mr. Sumit Sabharwal. He is the CEO of TeamLease HRtech, and Ms. Pallavi Mishra. She is AVP Human Resources at Amantya Technologies. Sumit, if you look at the current picture, so I think the layoffs started last year, and especially in the last quarter of the 2022. And if you look at the numbers as of now, so the numbers are reaching 0.5 million now. If you look at the numbers in last 3 months, from January to 31st March 2023, globally the numbers are 2.73 lakh. It is also scary. So if you look at the industry-wise, so around 38% the tech industries are involved into this, but other industries are also there. If I name here in India as well, so Byju's, they have announced some of the layoffs. Unacademy announced the layoff. Vedanta announced the layoff. Ola announced the layoff. So there are also some of the industries in India those are working on the layoffs. Globally, tech industries and also some other industries we can see like McDonald's, like Indeed, apart from if we talk about the Google, Amazon. So a lot of industries are there. There's also one report by the CBR, that is the Center for Economics and Business Research. And this agency says that a global recession will start in 2023. Even our Indian Finance Minister also said in IMF meeting recently, which is done in Washington, that she is concerned about the economic outlook, global economic outlook. To the projected numbers for the Indian economic, that is the growth, that is 6%, that is a good number. So looking at these all the scenarios, how do you decipher, is the recession looming up? And if as then, how do you see the impact in India, and especially if we talk about the Indian job market?
Right. I think thanks, Romesh, for elaborating it in terms of numbers and across the geographies. What we have seen, Romesh, almost last 1.5, 2 years, when we were into the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic, there was a lot of hiring done by many organizations, specifically on the technology side, on the EdTech side, and where the entire consumer demand was changing from a brick and mortar to a online demand. Now, when the new products had to be introduced, the new services have to be introduced, remote services, then companies went an extra mile to develop those products and services for changing consumer demand. And that led to addition in terms of teams, addition in terms of people for developing new products, services, and in some cases, they went overboard in hiring. Now, when the recession, when the entire pandemic was subsiding, the demand actually went back to brick and mortar and online, and therefore companies felt that there is a lot of excess people who are there who may not be required in the long run, and hence the layoffs we are seeing specifically in IT, specifically in tech-related sectors. Now, if we see overall India as a market, Romesh, India has a very strong demand of in-house, which I say that in-country demand for India. And the recession impact on India, if it comes, will be very, very minimal. And we are seeing rather some green shoots of hiring coming back in some of the sectors right now, where initially we've seen some layoffs. So while recession is a very big word, but I feel that it is just a correction of the demand, consumer demand, when we are moving back out of the pandemic.
So with the talk about the overhiring, so that is absolutely correct. If I put here some data, so Amazon has had 106% in pandemic only. So that is more than double the headcount that reaches more than double before pandemic and after pandemic. Meta has had 103%. So that is also more than double. Salesforce had 67%. So that is also a good number. Alphabet had 64%. Microsoft had 53%. So these are the numbers they have hired in pandemic. Pallavi, coming to you, what is your initial comment on this? That do you believe that recession is looming up? And if yes, then how do you see the impact in India?
Ramesh, I would agree 200% with Sumit that the impact is going to be minimalistic on Indian market, and this is more of a correction times. Yes, there have been an overboard hiring that has happened, and also what I would want to add over here, just not the numbers have been hired beyond what was required, because we all were aware that what if somebody falls sick and I get 20% of my team out of work. So I know I'm trying to cover, and instead of hiring an optimistic size of team, I would probably go and hire a 10% 20% extra. One thing which also happened was that um, the assessment part also was not done to the fullest. And when we are coming back to the normalcy from our pandemic, we are also realizing that there have been gaps in what people can offer versus what is required. And when this gap between what is provided and what is required is getting bigger and bigger, people are moving out voluntarily, or maybe in organizations are taking a call. That's also impacting the recent exits which are happening. Looking at the impact of this recession, where I see that hitting the hardest is on the freshers. I've been reading through, and even I've been part of those conversations where we have taken some difficult calls on having internships honored, but we had to take a call. So that's where either the offers are getting delayed, so the date of joinings are getting pushed out, or the internships which the organizations had anticipated that we would be able to take the newer brains and freshers under our wings, and we'll be able to groom them, that is coming down. And that is more of a conscious decision that if I bring in somebody who's a budding talent under my wings, and tomorrow if the business starts getting hit, uh, how will I provide the mentorship to this new child? So not because of the pressure of business getting impacted, but just being conscious about that tomorrow I should not be making an adverse impact on a relatively younger child, or a new person who's getting into the industry. That's where I see the impact. I will not shy out from calling that this is a correction time rather than a recession for Indian market.
Correction time in India? Globally,
Yes.
you talked about it.
No, I'm talking about Indian market specifically. Why? Because Indian market has shot up, and I'll talk more from the technical side of the industries. That in tech side, the hirings, the numbers have gone way beyond what we imagined. The pace at which we have hired has gone way beyond, and so have been the salaries. The salaries that we have offered in the recent past, and now which we are we are being asked for, they are insane. They are nowhere close to being realistic. So I think this is a time for all of us to take a pause and see that, let's come to the grounds, keep our feet grounded, and see that what we are asking as a candidate against the value add that I'll be providing to the employer, versus the employers also, where there are organizations who have been who have earned I don't know, good or bad name, in saying that no matter how high the salary you ask for, if you have your candidature with an XYZ company, they will offer you. They also need to take a pause and see that what is that they are offering in long term to their people. This is not a sustainable model. No organization can sustain this for a very long time. So take a pause, take this time, and get the things back in line, which are sustainable and long running, not short-term targeted.
So absolutely, the overhiring is one of the reasons when we talk about the layoffs, but there are also other industries, as I discussed, that Indeed is also laying off their employees. Asian Foods, they are also laying off their employees. City Group, they are also laying off their employees. Hot Works, they are also laying off the employees. General Motors, they are also laying off their employees. Here we don't see any overhiring. But you see, that is some economic slowdown of what the reason you find with these companies when you look at the layoff numbers.
Sure. So, Ramesh, what happens is that when a season of demand contraction starts, majorly because of the shift in demand that happens, then there are some direct industries which get affected, and then there is some indirect cascading effect that happens in terms of the sales of the other industries. And hence, when this cascading effect happens, the other dependent industries, the consumer industries, manufacturing industries also see a change in the demand patterns. And because of the margin pressure some of these industries have, they would have a optimization of the various resources, and human resources is also are also optimized, and hence we are seeing the cascading effect. Whereas the demand shift is happening to what Pallavi was saying, and therefore this cascading effect in some of the companies is happening. But it is coming, Ramesh, to a market equilibrium, wherein we'll see a steady growth coming in. And I see it very quickly in not even couple of, maybe in next 2 quarters, this will even out, and we'll be back on our normal growth rates, Ramesh.
So, Pallavi, okay, I think both the panelists agree that in India, at least, we don't need to be much, scary about the recession world. And maybe this is the correction we can see. You can say that just a recession fear, but we don't see any recession. That's great news for all of us. Then, how do you see the market, Indian job market in this financial year, 2023 to 2024?
See, it is definitely going to grow, no doubt. And I agree again here with Sumit that by Q3, Q4, we will be hitting back the normalcy in terms of growth rates. One thing which everywhere I see as a trend will be getting highlighted is that how are we upskilling? So Ramesh, the focus will remain that how technically advanced or how skilled I am, and that will drive me as a candidate. How good offers can I cherish for myself, and as an employer, who's a better candidate for myself? So I think here again, the play will be that I may be willing to pay a 2x, 4x, 5x of salary, but then the value add that I am looking now from that very candidate will be way higher, larger, and bigger than what I was expecting a year and a half, 2 years back. That is going to play a major role here. Plus, as the organizations will realize that the sustainable model is not to provide an insane amount of salary package to the candidates and get them onboarded, because eventually everybody is here to run a business, and a profitable business more so. They will also start normalizing that, and that is going to be another driving factor in the market, that we all realize that if I'm asking for an X amount of money, this is what is the real value that I'm going to provide back to my employer. And I see more of a holistic work-life balance that is coming in my life. After we have hit the normalcy, one thing that I've seen is that people are loving to be back in the office, because they're getting that, that camaraderie, that everything that they lost during COVID, or during COVID. They are coming back to the offices, and here we as an organization again would be more careful, or should be more careful, to say that that we do not get into the trap where we bite more than we chew. So making sure that our projects, our work allocation, it's a new year starting, so the kind of expectations we set with our people are more realistic. We keep buffer that in case, like right now also we have a surgency in the numbers rising. There is so we keep buffer of anything that is not planned for in buffer, and provide our people a sustainable environment, that come to office, work, grow, and continue.
So, if we see the year 23-24 as the balancing year, or you can say as a correction year, or you can say like a bridge year, the post-pandemic and pandemic, then how do you see that which sectors may remain little conscious and which sectors you can see that you may notice the good hiring?
I would take the cue from Sumit here. The direct industries will remain conscious over here because the impact is almost immediate, right? Like, for example, I hire 50 people to onboard new students in the edtech industry. And then the moment that demand goes away because schools have opened up and they are back to the offline schools, I have to lay them off. So the direct impact industries will have to remain conscious, and it is actually a viable decision because it hurts every HR when they have to ask their people to leave. No HR, trust me, would love to do that or would like to do that, part of this. But so instead of going overboard and then correcting the mistake, let's be conscious and making sure that we are shaping up people's future rather than becoming somewhere a bottleneck. The indirect industries where there is a cushion, where we do get a reaction time. For example, we know that there are changes which are happening in government rules, the way the US or the Western world is impacting, and we do get about 3-4 quarters in between to realize the real impact. I'm taking Amantya Technologies itself. Like, we do get time to see that how the government policies or the rest of the world is behaving to certain changes to the world events, and we can actually contain ourselves. Our pace is more left to our management. So we may go overboard in quarter 1, quarter 2, but if we see that things are not likely to happen the way we expected, we can actually slow down. Hence, the impact on our people would be less and less. So direct and indirect industries, this is how I see being conscious and little cushioned getting impacted.
And Sumit, how do you see the job market in this year? And if you can also let us know, how do you see the HRtech job market in this year?
Sure. So, Romesh, there are certain sectors which I clearly see that will remain optimistic in this year in terms of hiring. One is certainly the telecommunication sector in India, where you are seeing the rollout of the 5G happening in India and the new players coming in that market. Second is the financial services sector, which will show a very optimum growth again in terms of hiring in this year. Then we'll have a moderate hiring, Romesh, in healthcare and pharmaceutical and in FMCG sectors. Where we are seeing slightly less hiring will be in sectors like textile manufacturing. We have done some studies there, and we have some finding out there. And also surprisingly, in travel and hospitality, also we'll see moderate hiring. So these are the sectors which will see a good and maybe a moderate hiring in this year. Now coming to HRtech, I believe we have embarked on a journey of remote working, hybrid working, employee well-being, employee engagement, and hence all these products have more and more acceptability in today's corporate world, not only with the large enterprises, but also with small and medium businesses which are there. So the demand for HRtech is actually much higher than what it was in pre-pandemic session, and therefore whether you call it engineering roles or whether you call it sales roles or product roles in the HRtech sector are going to increase as we progress in this new year. Another area where roles are going to increase is in the area of artificial intelligence. We've seen a lot of developments happening in artificial intelligence over the last 3 to 6 months, and according to our estimate, only in artificial intelligence, more than 45,000 jobs in India are going to get created. So that ways, these are the upcoming new sectors or the traditional sectors which will show a good uptake in terms of job in this year itself.
You also see most of the companies also started implementing the chat GPT. So do you see also somewhere, you said that around 40,000 jobs you can see that here in India, the companies are going to create. Do you see also the chat GPT is going to replace some of the jobs? The companies also started implementing chat GPT.
Correct. So it's going
Job
to
losses I'm
transform
talking
the
about.
jobs. Yeah. So it's going to transform the jobs. I'll tell you how. For example, if earlier it used to take X amount of time to prepare a particular output, especially in terms of content, it will take less amount of time right now. So the same person can do much more productive work, much more quality work while leveraging these AI tools. So I'll say the job from a basic putting the things together to refining the content, to refining the output, that's going to change. And a lot of new jobs like prompt engineering, just as an example, or maybe the artificial intelligence ethics, which are going to take place. So all those new jobs are also going to get created in these fields. So overall, the quality of jobs, and like what we were discussing earlier, in terms of the reskilling, upskilling, which Pallavi was mentioning, that's going to happen, Romesh, in very near future, faster than any of us expected.
Well, you would like to add anything?
No, I think we are speaking the same line of thought. So I again would totally agree with Sumit that this is normally we look at automation and reduction of the human intervention, but let me just call it out very explicitly that a machine can't be smarter than the human who created it. Right. So, however, he mentioned that these are tools which are at disposal to the workforce, which is available right now, and we need to learn faster how to utilize these tools to our betterment. The quality of output is going to be better with the usage of these tools. If I can learn, I will be in the market for longer time. If not, then of course, like an obsolete technology, my value in the job market would start getting reducing, and nobody would want that to happen. So people need to see that what is coming up next and how can they prepare for themselves. And it shouldn't be done as a scare or as preparing for the worst. It should be matching the pace with what is coming up. So I would really want to call it out that the action that which is taken out of fear has a different pressure. But when I'm doing out of my will and my curiosity that I want to learn this new skill set, I want to do that, my outputs, my capability, my focus on learning and deploying those learnings on my work are way better than anything which is done out of fear. So people should focus on that, and not just people. Honestly, we as HR leaders have to show that path to our people and to our leadership, both sides, right? How can we make sure that there are courses which are available for our people? How can we make our leadership think that what kind of projects needs to be brought in so that people get an opportunity to utilize those skill sets? What is that people would like to work upon so that we can actually engage our people and contain our attrition too? Right. So somebody is doing that business. If my people are capable, why cannot I bring that kind of business in my company so that I don't have to worry about attrition or losing my people to more challenging and more value adding work to my competition? So this is how I see that the correction time will impact a lot on the mindsets.
Sumit, how do you see that? Okay, this is the correction year. This is, you can say, recession year. Then how the HR leaders can prepare themselves for this year?
Sure. One is certainly, Romesh, in terms of being very, very transparent with the workforce, in terms of the real business projections, in terms of their career path, whether if there is an opportunity to pace out their growth, their career paths within the organization. What is it that they can expect 2 years, 3 years from now when they're in the organization? What are the alternate career paths or the skills or upskilling that they can opt for maintaining their career, their professional aspirations, their growth rates? Secondly, what HR professionals can also use are a lot of good tools today which HRtech companies offer in the market in terms of analyzing their productivities, real time, doing the gap analysis with respect to their objective and key result areas, and suggesting them with the learning modules so that they can upskill themselves for newer roles, and they do not have to wait for the kind of changes that may hit them 6 months or 1 year down the line. They can be proactively prepared for that, and then they can rather leverage those converting the challenge into an opportunity, or and they can grow with the changes in the overall economic situation. So that's what I think HR can play a serious enabler by leveraging the right technology tools that are available in today's change scenario. Ramesh.
And Pallavi, what's your final comments on this quickly?
So, Ramesh, we need to make sure that as an HR, we become the enabler. And like I said, our responsibility is equal towards our people and towards our leadership. We have to be that torch bearer and say that this is how the world is changing and we cannot afford to fall behind. So this is what is changing. And rather than waiting for an opportunity to knock on the door, I would say, let's open the door, walk out and walk a few miles and grab the opportunity. In terms of providing a workplace where employees know that they are valued for the capabilities they bring on the table. As an employer, I would want to point out that this is the time where we should be seriously thinking about making an investment in upskilling and reskilling our people, and have little patience to see the ROI turn up the way we expected and maybe more, and do a planning which is not overboard. So little consciousness, little more thoughtfulness in planning, forecasting and hiring people and giving them time to understand that what is required out of them and give those results is what I would see 23-24 shaping up. And this year is going to play a very crucial role of the trends that will continue till next 3 to 4 or maybe 5 years after pandemic. This year is going to be crucial one.
Great inputs. So I think we don't need to much worry about the recession, and just get prepared for the next year. And I hope everything gets good. So thank you so much, Sumit, and thank you, Pallavi, for joining the conversation and sharing the wonderful thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you,
Pleasure
Sumit.
connecting, Ramesh.
Pleasure
Pleasure
talking
to
to
learn.
both of you.
Thank you so much. Thanks.